Welcome to this edition of Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm Gil Cloud, the Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, and today is all about basketball. This is basketball week. Regional basketball tournaments start on Thursday in all of our gymnasiums around the state of Oklahoma. We're excited about that. We have our basketball coaches coming in, Coach Adkism, Coach Allison, Coach Parish. We'll have Coach Brown, Coach Leyva, and Coach Phipps, and then Mick will come in and give us a summary of 5 and 6A basketball. Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have the head girls basketball coach at Will Rogers High School, Carlin Adkism. Carlin, congratulations on a great year.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You go in ranked number 1?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How does that feel being ranked number 1?
I have a lot of mixed emotions about that. I do. It's a great accomplishment for the program. Just being there for, since 2010 and just seeing where the program has come from until now is just, it's a remarkable feeling for the girls that just worked hard, throughout the season. Not just for these girls, but for the past girls that it's just a, unbelievable feeling for, what each girl I know that put in work and year after year. So it's a good feeling for us.
Well, one thing about it, there's no question who has the target on their back.
Definitely.
When you're number 1,
right.
There's 31 other ones that are looking at you.
Right.
It sure is good to be up there. So as you prepare for the regional, is it more difficult to get your student athletes to be intense every game in the playoffs, or is the first one, do they kind of look past maybe?
No, not at all. We don't talk about our rankings. We don't talk about anything like that. We talk about our goal, from the start of the season to and that's been getting to the state championship and win, and nothing they got to do with rankings. I think in the playoffs, rankings is it's a ranking,
Right.
So everybody's equal, and we go out there and we approach the game as such.
Good.
Yeah.
So what do you think about your first round opponent?
Coach West, he always had his teams playing hard. We know that, like you said, we're going to get their best shot, and we have to come prepared. And and that's throughout the playoffs. Like, we're going to take everybody's best shot, so we just got to prepare mentally and physically to go out there and play our best basketball.
This will be the third time you played them.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
third time. Yeah, third time. Right.
Sometimes they say third time's a charm.
Third time. There you go with that. Right there. That's it. Right. Yeah.
But it's tough. It's interesting. It seemed like every one of our 5 and 6A teams are playing people they've already played twice.
Yes.
During the regular season.
Yes.
And that makes it a little bit difficult. But when you have conferences that have 10 or 12 or whatever in them,
right,
you take up most of the people in there.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about looking at the playoffs from a different perspective, say from a district perspective, rather than the coaches voting?
I honestly, my vote would be go to the district for 5A. I think that will kind of take the play out of manipulating the system as far as the votings and things like that. So I like how 4A and 3 and below kind of do their
our coaches have talked about this previous on the show that this last 2 weeks of the season, the games don't mean a great deal because the pairings are already set. And if you're playing districts, you're going right down to the last Friday night.
Yes, correct.
Possibly if somebody who's going to host and not going to host. And I think from a administrative standpoint, that's really not a problem. I mean, we can get ready to host pretty quick.
Right.
I don't really understand where we're headed with this voting thing because there was one school told us today that they're playing Claremore. Mm-hmm. And Claremore really is a 14 seed on record, but because they didn't turn their scores in, they moved them back to 16. Those kind of things I don't think are fair, not only to Claremore, but it's not fair to the people they're playing.
Right.
So I think we need to look at a different mechanism. So let's talk a little bit about some of your kids that have had a highlight season that have put you where you are right now.
Well, I always mention my seniors first, just because they have, just kind of paved the way for everybody else. They've been working hard all 4 years, and they just got us off to a great start, and we finished up well. Nakia Cullum, she's lead us in scoring. Devin Wright has led us in rebounding. Notoria Graham, she's our shooter. She's been, shooting the ball very well. And then we have Dejanay Floyd, she just comes off the bench with energy and provides us with rebounding and hustle and everything like that. So
yeah, that's fantastic. And as you get into, are you well?
Yes.
No injuries.
No injuries as of right now. So we're good. We're ready to start playing.
So you host at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Will Rogers at the Rack.
At the Rack.
At the Rack, you bet. And always great to play at home.
Yes, it is.
Great to play at home. Hopefully, we'll have a good crowd there, and both boys and girls are playing at home. So hopefully, it could be a Saturday afternoon, Saturday night final.
Right?
With all Will Rogers. I think those are good times. This basketball season, I get really excited this time of the year because you get to those loser leave town matches, and that first game is a loser leave town. You got to win to keep playing.
Right.
So, well, listen, Carlin, congratulations on a great year.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today.
Sure.
Good luck this week. It's Thursday night's going to be a big night. We've got 5 locations that we're hosting here in the city, and of course we have all of our teams playing.
Right.
But we're hosting at 5 locations, and Rogers is one that has both boys and girls. Right. Booker T has both boys and girls,
right.
and the rest are single sites. So, but when we come back after Carlin wins his regional, we'll have Bobby Allison, the head basketball coach at Memorial High School.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You know you can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, you know your team will always be there for you.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the City of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Mini blinds, hanger, plastic bottle. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are great for the City of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But mini blinds and hangers should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Well, welcome to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and I tell you what, we have the head basketball coach from the Memorial Chargers, Bobby Allison. And Bobby, this is certainly tournament week.
Yes,
this
sir.
is what you all play for.
Mm-hmm.
We play through scrimmages in November and December and the tournaments, but now we're where we want to be.
Exactly, and it's a great time of year. We've had about 2.5 weeks, really 2 weeks off. Got rejuvenated, had some great practices the last week, and it's the time, kind of the culmination of all that hard work, really from last spring break through the summers to now. So it's exciting.
Was that something that you wanted in your schedule?
Yes, sir. Yes, still. When I originally, our last game was February 11th against Edison. We kind of capped the season there. We front-loaded our schedule so much early in the season. I think we had 14 games before the change of the 2020. But I thought regionals was going to be the 21st. And this year, everything kind of got pushed back with the start date and with everything, because just the way it happened. But we used it to our advantage. We think kids got basically a week off to really focus on grades, focus on getting healthy, focus on kind of rejuvenating their energy and staying away from injuries. And we hit the floor running last week hard after President's Day, and we had a great shoot around last night just to kind of get our legs right. And we'll have 4 great practices and then tip it off on Friday night.
Are you well?
Yes, we are. Our last game against Edison on the 11th was the first time that our top 8 had kind of been in the rotation with each other. maybe the entire year. I know we've had some guys through injury. We had some nagging things once in a while, some things, and but we kind of put it all together that last week, and it's kind of neat going into the season. Everybody knows exactly what their place is on the roster right now, and there's no guessing. There's no wondering if this guy's. The team knows their role.
Know your role,
and we're going to go forward with it.
Well, let's talk about your regional a little bit.
Yeah.
Excuse me. You drew Claremore.
Yes, sir.
Who's on the other side of the bracket?
We got Claremore in round 1, and the winner of game 2. The winner of that plays game 1, which is Pryor versus Coweta. So it's a very challenging regional. Claremore is not a normal 16 seed. They've won 3 out of their last 4. I think they're 7-14 on the year, but they were voted not as the 16 seed, but then due to people not voting, they got bumped back 2 spots. So we're the 1 seed, and their point total through the voting system had them at the 16, but they're a tough challenge round 1, and then we're really not even looking at round 2 yet. Coweta and Pryor have split this year, I believe, so that's a 50-50 game. And then on the other side of it in the area is a couple of Tulsa Public School teams, more than likely, with Rogers getting the 4 seed and East Central getting the 5. That's a 50-50 game.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
So that'll be a great game. But no, we're excited about Friday night, and Claremore's got our attention.
Well, you're playing kind of the one person out of the Metro Lakes. Because those 3 are Metro Lakes
right, no doubt.
schools, and they've played each other, so they know one another.
No doubt.
And, of course, the Pryor Coweta will be a rivalry match.
No, it will be. No, those teams are all familiar. One thing we have an advantage on more than anything is those conferences play a certain style, and then our conference, there's a lot more speed.
Yeah.
There's a lot more speed based in our conference, and we're going to try to make those teams know what it's like that weekend to be in our conference, and hopefully we can.
We say that all the time, but it is really the truth.
No, it is. You can't simulate our speed.
You can't, and you go to see other games, and then you'll come back to Green Country, and there's no comparison.
I kind of equate it to putting a donut on a baseball bat. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You put that donut on the baseball bat and swing it a few times, but then in our league, you kind of pop that donut off, and
you better be ready.
Yeah, that's the fast twitch that you're going with our conference.
Well, that's great. Real quickly, the last minute and a half here. Your 2 Boone twins have really come to light here in the last 2 weeks, I think, for Oklahoma State.
It's been really enjoyable for me on Saturday afternoon. There's nothing better than having a good week of Memorial basketball, and then a Saturday afternoon getting to watch those 2 really do what they did for us, and that's help a team win. And it's been awesome because they've done it with positive attitudes and been great teammates. And not only them, but we got a few guys playing junior college basketball and NAIA ball that are also having success. And I was telling the kids yesterday, I said, guys, it's no secret what they are doing for OSU, you guys were a part of for 3 years, and it's just being a great teammate. It's loving being part of a team, loving to be part of a culture. The guys that are having success in junior college are doing the same thing, and it makes them happy. And you see them as happy people, and you see them as intense competitors, but they have joy and they have happiness when they do it, and that's what we've done this year as well on our team. So just because you go to another place, or there's a way to do things and a way to be a true
it carries
teammate.
over. There's no question about that.
Hopefully our guys just use that as an example to keep being that way with us, and hopefully when they go on to college, they can keep doing that for wherever they're at.
Well, Bobby, good luck
Thank
for
you,
the
Gil.
playoffs. This is playoff week.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Coming up next, when we come back, we'll have Michael Parish, the head basketball coach at Edison.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field.
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with. Not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Glass bottle, string lights, ceramic mug. The correct answer is glass bottle. Glass bottles and jars are perfect for the City of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But string lights and ceramic mugs should be donated or thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have the head basketball coach of the Edison Eagles, Michael Parish. And Michael, as all we have talked with our basketball coaches, this is basketball week.
It's exciting. Playoffs. This is what you work so hard for.
It always is. You know, I there 3 times or 3 or 4 times during the year, but Tournament of Champions, the finals there is almost like a state championship deal. And then we get to regional because that first game is everything. And then as you move through the area and the state tournament, the intensity just grows through the whole thing. And, you know, what a great time to be involved with high school basketball. But so you've got your hosting, which is always good, and you got the Hale Rangers coming in. You've played them twice. What do you think?
You know, I was actually watching film before I came over here today, and it's a good matchup for us. We know them well, know their personnel well. We match up pretty well with them. You know, they've given us problems in both games with their dribble drive offense at times. We've got to do a better job when we play them of covering the ball screen and the weave of the dribble drive. I don't think we've played well against Hale either time, and we were able to win. So I'm hoping that we can have a night where, you know, the ball goes in the hole for us a little bit and kids are motivated to play.
It's always tough to play somebody 3 times, and it looks like that everybody in 5A and 6A are getting that opportunity to play for a 3rd time.
It's very exciting to get to the point where it's win or go home. Mm-hmm. It gives that underdog the opportunity to jump up and surprise some people. I think when you're back's against the wall and you know it is one and done, you are a lot more, wounded. You're a lot more, the word I'm trying to say is
motivated.
Well, you're motivated, but you're desperate.
Yeah, desperate. Yeah.
And when you play desperate teams, sometimes they play harder and things go their way, and that's what I think we have to guard against, is making sure that we meet the intensity and we play with a desperation about ourselves. Just because we're hosting and we've had a good season, it promises us nothing in the playoffs. And if we don't play well that first game, an underdog can come up and beat you. So I think the challenge for us is to get our team to play with some desperation and some desire to move on to the next round.
Well, you know, it always filters into the players know how the other team is.
Right.
You know, you play them.
Absolutely.
And they know what the weaknesses are, and you know, well, we want to look past this one. We want to play the next one.
Sure.
And that's the toughest thing in coaching, is to get those kids. The intensity has got to be right now.
Absolutely.
Can't be tomorrow,
Yep.
because there may not be a tomorrow. You know.
Well, and that's the thinking is also, even if you're in our spot and you have a home regional and you play a team that you've beaten twice, and you are looking ahead, you don't play well, or the first game is easy, and then you get in a dogfight the second night and you're not prepared because the first night was so easy, or you didn't play with that pride about yourself. It just sometimes playing as a high seed, playing a low seed, and if the game is easy, you get into a dogfight the next night and you're just not mentally prepared for it. So, as you were saying, as a coach, the biggest thing for us this week is to get our kids motivated to play and to accept those challenges with intensity. And
well, I think that's that part of it. The other part is from a coaching standpoint. You've got to be prepared in 24 hours to play somebody else.
Sure.
And you don't want to look ahead.
Sure.
But I'm sure you've looked at some tape of who you might play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so what do you think about that?
It's funny you say that. Last year in the regional, we kind of anticipated playing one school in the regional final. We spent a lot of time scouting them, and they got beat. And so you're back to the drawing board, scouting all over again. So for me and my experience with this, you better take care of night one.
Yep.
So looking ahead, I'm trying not to do that. I want to make sure and take care of night one first. And as you know, old coaching philosophies are, I can go scout, and I do scout, but I want to be better at what I do than what you're better at what you do. And so I try and spend as much time on us and worrying about us and doing the things we're good at, and less time scouting.
Well, it's always good when you can control the tempo.
Absolutely.
And they have to play to you.
Yes.
You're not playing to them.
Right. And I think sometimes coaches get caught up into scouting too much.
Right.
And you give your players too much information that they are going to forget anyway 5 minutes into the game.
I'll never forget coaching in Kansas, and I had a kid that ended up going to the University of Kansas and started 3 years as a linebacker. He was a sophomore when I was coaching before I went on to K-State. And I brought him over there, called a timeout, and I told him about 8 things during that timeout. And when he ran back out on the field, I said, he probably didn't hear one word I said because he was a player.
Right.
He was going to go to the football.
Right.
He knew how to do that. But sometimes I think we overvalue what we have to say.
Absolutely. You are exactly right. And that's what I'm trying not to do this week.
Well, congratulations on a good year and good luck in the
Coach.
regional. I hope you win and move on and be back with us in 2 weeks.
Me
to talk
too.
about the state tournament.
It'll be exciting.
When we come back, we're going to have Eli Brown, the head basketball coach at Tulsa Central High School.
I love Will Rogers Athletics because it helped me physically, spiritually, and emotionally through all the journeys I've been through at that school. All of the support staff helped me a lot, and it's just an amazing school.
Athletics at Will Rogers changed my life because it became a second family. With the support of my coaches and teammates, it's helped me gain confidence, work as a team, and will help me in college and in life.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Plastic bottle, cooler, laundry basket. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But coolers and laundry baskets should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have the head boys basketball coach at Tulsa Central High School, Eli Brown. Eli, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's tournament time in Oklahoma, isn't it?
It's busy time in Oklahoma right now.
Busy time in Oklahoma. You in 4A actually started last week.
Yes, sir. We had a district tournament this past weekend, which we won. Our girls and our boys played at the same site, and so now this week we're moving into regionals.
And so you're going where?
This week we are going to Muldrow, Oklahoma, and we're going to play Muldrow as well. Our boys and our girls both are going to Muldrow, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about Muldrow?
They're a pretty scrappy team. We played them last year in the district championship game, so we're kind of got we're used to them. They're used to us, so it'll be a great game. But the coach's son, Carlin, is a freshman, and he's pretty good. He's probably their best player right now.
I see. Can shoot it?
Oh, yeah, he can shoot it. His dad played at OSU, so he knows the game.
Yeah, he knows how to go and where to go. Well, and of course, I know from a coaching standpoint, you never want to look ahead.
Right.
But in looking at the bracket, this is just another trip that you got. You've got them lined up. If you go all the way to Arian State.
Yeah, we got some traveling to do.
Yeah, some traveling to do.
Yeah, we're not looking ahead, but we're definitely trying to prepare and make sure we're ready for the next game after Thursday.
Well, in that vein, how do your kids play on the road?
I think they play better on the road. It's less distraction. At home, it's kind of, let's see what kind of reels we can put together for the fans and the friends and the family. So on the road, it's kind of just us, and we can kind of have that bunker down mentality where we can just focus on us and not worry about who's in the stands.
Yeah, that's great. Well, who is somebody you think that's come up and talk a little bit about your team?
Well, most people know about Brandon Jefferson, the senior, but guys like Katarion Owens, who's a junior, he comes off the bench and he gives us big lift. And sophomores, Tyon Cox and Kaylin Goff Brown, and those kids all just kind of come into it. But I think our heart and soul is Devontre Washington, who's a senior point guard, and he's just tough as nails. And, I've always loved tough kids, and he just exudes toughness. So he kind of helps us out a lot.
Do you have, not to project on too soon, but do you have kids that think it'll play at the next level?
Sure. Brandon Jefferson he got to choose where he wants to play. Devontre has some options. And then we have another senior who's already got an offer from Unity in Florida. And then we have one more senior, Mr. Mays, who is currently going through options. But yeah, I think 4 out of 5 will have options to play the next level.
That's great. They can continue their education, which is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
But be able to play at that level. So as you look at the state tournament set up, how do you feel about there's a lot of talk out there about districts, about the coaches voting, not voting in some cases. I know talking to Coach Allison, he indicated that they're playing Claremore, which should be a 14 seed, but because they didn't vote 2 weeks, they moved them back to 16.
Wow.
They're a little bit better than a 16.
Wow.
So there's some inequities, I think. How do you feel about it in 4A?
In the last 2 to 3 years, I've always said I wish we were in districts where we could really figure out who's the best team in those districts, and then those, like football, I think top 4 go from each district. Where we could do something similar in basketball, because number one, we don't see everybody, and we don't get a chance to know who's good on the west side of the state. So if we just had to worry about our districts for that portion of it, then we could it'll level itself out. The play would mean more. The games would mean more.
We once the parents came out, we had 2 weeks here at the end that the games didn't mean anything.
Didn't mean nothing.
Parents were already there, and the only takeaway that I have is that there are 2. Number one, it would probably do away with some conferences because of the district play. But number 2, I would want I think our schools to only play a single round robin. So that you could play some of your natural rivals,
right?
Because that could be eliminated if you played 14.
That's true.
I mean, that would, if you go to 3 tournaments, you'd be out of anybody to play.
You wouldn't have any continental.
So I just feel like that there's that way, and I've talked to other coaches about it. When I was in the NCAA, the men's basketball bracket Division II, we had software, and we just plucked in the score on Sunday afternoon. If you played a team that had a winning record, you got more points than the team that had a losing record. If you played a class up, you got more. It actually was it was more for us to play a Division I and lose than to play a Division III and win.
Right.
Because of the level of competition. So I think we got to do something to equalize that for our coaches and our kids. I hope we can do that. We're going to be discussing that with the OSSA in April when our AD's advisory committee gets together.
Right.
Well, are you looking forward to this weekend?
I am. I'm excited. Playoff time is always a great time for us. It's the chance to start all over, but it's also the chance for our kids to really get excited about the games that really matter, because they understand you win or you win and you keep moving, lose or you go home.
Yeah, right. It's a lose or leave town match, isn't it?
That's right.
Well, congratulations on having a great year, another great year, and good luck as we get into the playoffs. And when we come back, we're going to have Rabu, Leyva.
Athletics is so important at Tulsa Central because it's an outlet for some of our kids there. They get a better opportunity to basically give back to our community.
At McLean, the sports is what mainly drives a bunch of the students to come to school every single day and work hard, because they want to be able to come from the classroom to the field or the court and show at what they're good at.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the City of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Air filter, cardboard box, toy car. The correct answer is cardboard box. Paper and cardboard are perfect for the City of Tulsa's blue recycling cart, but air filters and toys should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have the head girls basketball coach, Booker T. Washington, Rabu Leyva. Rabu, boy, I tell you, what a year, huh?
It's been a phenomenal year. I've told the girls plenty of times, if someone would have told me we'd be 20-3, 1-2 out of our 3 tournaments, I'd take it every day of the week.
Oh, I guarantee you would, But, I think you coached the kids up really well, and they accepted that coaching. And, I'll ask Coach Phipps when he comes on next. He's on after you. But let's talk about the relevance of playing in the Frontier Valley Conference and how that prepares you for postseason play?
You know, the biggest thing it's done for us is we get to see 6A competition every night of the week. And since we're going to be 6A, that's a big advantage. You know, previously talking to Coach Kennedy, you know, she beat a good team in the Green Country Valley Conference. But because there wasn't a 6A team, she would get no credit from the 6A coaches.
Right.
Well, now if we beat, you know, we finished up number 2, unfortunately, but we went 12-2 in our conference. That gives us a degree of, man, that team must be pretty good.
You know, 12-2 too is at that level with the quality of the teams in the Frontier Valley is a heck of a year.
Oh no, great year.
And to come in second at 12-2 is unbelievable.
You know, one of our goals was to win our conference, but we are able to host regionals, which I told the girls at the end of the day, the way it's set up now, hosting regionals is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
You know, winning the conference, if you're playing good, that gets you to host a regional. So the girls did a great job this year.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Both the boys and girls teams end up playing Frontier Valley Conference teams.
Off the bat, yeah.
And you played Owassa twice. So what do you think about that draw?
You know, Sweeney does a good job. The girls shoot the ball pretty well. You know, we're going to do what we do. We're going to pick you up. We're going to defend hard. We try to get in the passing lanes and try to make it a high volume game and hopefully come out with a W.
Well, good. So you tip off at 8 o'clock Thursday night.
At the late game,
yeah,
yes.
The late game, which is good.
It is good, yes.
It is good. What do you think about the way teams are selected for the playoffs now?
You know, I've been coaching now for 15 years. I think it's the best system we have up to this point. I think for the most part, coaches are fair. You know, they're not trying to cheat the system or the kids. They're trying to do it fairly. You know, a lot of people talk about districts, which would make things easier a little bit. What I told one of Mike Brown was, as a teacher, if I'm being honest, I don't want to go to Durant on a Tuesday night and then teach on a Wednesday morning for a selfish reason for me or the kids. Right. So I don't know if there's a perfect system, but this system seems to be fairly equitable.
Well, I think if we did districts, I think the one thing that's come up because you'd want to keep rivalries, that it would probably be a single round robin, you know, where you would play every other year away at school because there are some natural rivals that you would lose, you know, and that's been the demise of conferences, has been district play in other sports.
Yes.
Because it took everybody out of those things. And I can remember back in the late 80s, I think, is when we went to 14 football districts. From 14 to 18. And, you know, when we were at 14, that meant as an athletic director, I could pick 7 people that I could make some money at.
Yes.
When the state is awarding me 7 people that may or may not draw, I've only got 3 weeks up there, you know. And so I think in basketball, it would be kind of the same analogy that you would only want to play because you wouldn't want to take all 14 of your possible games,
right?
You know, to be in that district, and that would be it.
Right.
Especially if you would say, for instance, lose a Jinx or lose a Broken Arrow or somebody that we have now played for the last 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're absolutely right. I think some of those natural rivalries make for better gates, make for better atmosphere, make for the continuing growth of our sport, which we talked about before. We've got to continue to do things to grow female and male sports as our population and society changes. It's not going to just naturally happen.
No. And it's more, you know, numbers literally are down in a lot of sports across the country.
Yes.
Kids have found other things that they want to do, and you know, that's unfortunate. But just talk about briefly. We got a minute and a half here. About some highlights, some of the kids that have come through for you this year that you maybe didn't expect that would.
Well, you know, I got to say, Yvette Mayberry, and I expected her to be good, but our last game of the season, she scored 35 points. She just, and really, my philosophy is if you're open, shoot it for anybody, within your range. So that was really a breakout game for her because she's much more of a facilitator. But it being her senior season, she wants something special to happen. And I told her, if you leave it all out there, win, lose, or draw, that's all you can ever ask from a player. I think Kerrigan Hill has done really well. Her assists are up, turnovers are down. I think Muffin, Armani, the nickname Muffin, she's always been known as a great athlete, but her ability to finish around the rim and take coaching in details, high hedge screen, boxing out, cross on the free throws, all those details that'll help her at the next level. I've really been really proud of her and her growth.
That's good. So you'll have some kids you think that'll play on after this year?
You know, I'm real fortunate, and Booker T usually is. I think out of my starting 5, 4 will play college basketball, at the next level, whether it be JUCO, D1, D2. But with the cost of tuition rising, I tell girls, use sports as an avenue to get some free education at any level.
That's exactly. I agree with you. I think it's really good. Well, good luck.
I'll take it
against the Lady Rams.
Yes,
it's going to be good playing at home at the Nate Harris Fieldhouse on Thursday at 8 o'clock, and we'll see you there. Coming up next, we'll have Conley Phipps, the head boys basketball coach at Booker T.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hales means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated because students at Nathan Hale look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hale has taught me to be confident and disciplined and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Welcome to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and we have Conley Phipps, the head basketball coach of the Booker T. Washington Hornets. And boy, this is like all the others. It's basketball week now. We got regional going at every level, and it's a great time to go watch high school basketball.
Well, it's the best time of the year. Everybody's starting over 0-0 and getting a chance to play for a state championship, and it's the best time of year. The high school playoffs, and we're looking forward to it.
Well, getting a host is always a great thing, and you've got Bartlesville coming in. We
play Bartlesville on our side of the regional, then the other side is Sapulpa and Yukon, and we're familiar with Bartlesville. Obviously, they're a Frontier Valley team, and Sapulpa as well. I've been watching a little bit of Yukon tape, just trying to get ready for any scenario. Our guys are excited about getting those playoffs started.
Well, you got some playoff experience on your at least three of them had
for sure.
Extensive experience.
Yes.
So you feel good about going in and hopefully winning the regional and moving on?
Yeah, we're excited. As you and I have talked about on this show, we played tough schedule, and since we've been back from the Bass Pro in Springfield, I think we've gotten better and better every week, and made a pretty good run there in the Frontier Valley. I think we're playing our best basketball, and so that's always the plan. It's not what always happens, but that's always the plan. So hopefully we can keep going on this little, trending upward at the end of the year.
Everybody well?
We're healthy. Knock on wood, we're injury free, which that has a whole lot to do with it. There's been some injuries into some Frontier Valley schools. Some teams have had to deal with the flu, and we've been very, very fortunate that we haven't had any of that.
Well, that's great. So you look at Bartlesville, haven't paid them twice, and you got to play them a third time. Any changes in your game plan? Do you think it'd be about the same?
Yeah, I think, I think for us, we'll probably just do what we do. I've been on the other side of that matchup where, if you're not the highest ranked team, you may try some things. But for us, we just want to get better this week on the things that we do leading up to the regional, and try to be prepared for anything that Bartlesville may do against us.
Well, I've seen you play 2 or 3 times, and I think you're right. I think you have gotten better as the years go on, which is the mark of a good program, good coach, and kids that are willing to accept the coaching, I think, is important. So as you get ready to go in that, obviously the early signing period for 2 of your players probably took a lot off of their mind so they could just play basketball. Do you think that's a good thing?
I think it's been real good for them. Just concentrate on their senior year. Our other Jalen Breath, our big kid, he's decided he's going to a prep school, Link Year Prep, and he made that commitment probably 3 weeks ago.
Oh, good.
And I think that's really helped him relax,
right,
and lock in a little more down the stretch. He's playing really well, so I think that's definitely helped us as those guys have that decision out of the way and just focused in on the playoffs their senior year.
Well, we know that Bryce and Trey and now Jalen, they're committed. What does it look like your 4th and 5th player?
Well, we've got two really good sophomores, Cam Parker and I.J. Johnson, and Coach, they both really improved throughout the year. Like you said earlier, they hadn't played a whole lot, not a whole lot of experience from those two, but they've gained a lot this year for sure, and playing against great competition every night. They played really well in our last regular season game at Sapulpa, and they've been playing well. So I think they're going to be ready for the playoffs.
Well, that's good. There were some questions when we walked through the decision making of going to the Frontier Valley. Now, after having been in for 3 years, what do you think?
Well, I think it's been great for Booker T. I don't think there's any doubt that's where we need to go, especially now that we're 6A, and for the foreseeable future we're going to be 6A. We need to be playing 6A basketball against the best teams, and I think I don't think there's any doubt it's helped our players get better, it's helped our program get better, and I think it's the perfect spot for us.
Well, it puts you in prime time more often than not with the opponents and everything, and that should be. Booker T is a 6A high school. One of our flagship academic schools, and I think it's important for those kids to be seen at that level. Well, any parting shots you may have for this season, what your recollection of how it's turned out and how you feel right now?
Well, I think, as I said earlier, it was a tough schedule we put together. We played 5 games against big-time opponents from out of state, and you're always a little nervous. Is that the right thing to do? Is that going to hurt you or help you? And now that we're to the end, getting ready to start the playoffs, I think it's been a positive experience for our guys, and I think it's really going to help us down the stretch here, getting ready to play these tough games in the playoffs.
Well, fantastic. Well, good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you, Coach.
We sure hope you can be back here a couple of times to talk about that state championship.
I appreciate it.
And when we come back, we're going to have Mick Wilson. He'll go over the entire bracket of 4A, 5A, and 6A.
I love Will Rogers Athletics because it helped me physically, spiritually, and emotionally through all the journeys I've been through at that school. All of the support staff helped me a lot, and it's just an amazing school.
Athletics at Will Rogers changed my life because it became a second family. With the support of my coaches and teammates, it's helped me gain confidence, work as a team, and will help me in college and in life.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Plastic bottle, cooler, laundry basket. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But coolers and laundry baskets should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have Mick Wilson, who is the Deputy Director of Athletics, but also heads up our basketball section of what we do in Tulsa Public Schools. And of course, boy, Mick, it's basketball time.
It's that time of year, and it's such an exciting time of year for not only us in our office, but really throughout the district. I think there's probably no secret that basketball is our flagship sport, both boys and girls in the district, and it's a prideful time for us, especially coming back with 5A and 6A, both defending champions in each classification. It's going to be a great year, and even a chance this year, to, as we've talked in the past, to maybe have a serious run in 4A boys as well.
We don't want to jinx us, but we really have a shot. Ultimately, we could win 5 state championships.
We could. We've got some hardworking coaches. They've really put their times in with their programs. Some with some traditions. We've got some newcomers. The Rogers girls, the last 3 or 4 years have really put themselves on the map, and really have an outstanding group of girls. Have a good group of coaches. Carlin improved his staff this year by bringing over Marcus Morrow from Monroe, who brings some good experience through our junior high feeder programs and things like that. So I think you're seeing some of our programs really start to matriculate and get better, and I couldn't be prouder of any of our programs. And 5 state champions, Gil, would be a first for us.
It would be unprecedented in the state of Oklahoma to have one district to be able to do that. And our good friends over at Oklahoma City, Todd Dilbeck and his guys, spent some time with us this summer because they wanted to know how we were doing things. Over the last 8 years, we've won 13 state championships, and I think it's a credit to our coaches and our kids but also our patrons, because we've been able to provide really quality facilities for our student athletes.
Gil, I tell you, with what we have in place, our coaching staff and as hard as they work, we used to talk about there was a time when all up and coming basketball coaches aspired to get into the Tulsa Public Schools League, and me being one was part of that. And I think we've kind of brought that back again, where we've got a lot of pride in the district and what we do. But our patrons have done a good job as far as supporting us with not only turf fields at every high school, and coming soon to one of our middle schools, and new gyms at all our facilities, with new gyms coming in the future. I've had a few more. I think it's an exciting time for us, and we can kind of weather the storm, what we've gone through with some of the financial crunch, not only in our district but statewide. I think we're going to be in great shape to carry the torch even further, and I'm really proud of our coaches, because they do work hard at it and take a lot of pride in what they do.
They have done a good job, and of course the kids as well, and I think. But we're going to talk about all the classes, so let's start out in 4A. We've had coaches in from 4A today, but from an analytical and administrative side, how do you look at 4A?
Well, I think the 4A girls, we're not quite there yet. I think we're still working and building, and not to say that somebody couldn't get hot here and make a late run, but looking at realistically, our 4A girls to get better. I think a legitimate shot trying to get to regionals and maybe a first round of area would be something that would be a good feat if we were able to pull that off. On the boys' side, I don't think there's any doubt about it, even coming off 4 years ago when we had McLean versus Central in the 4A state championship. What a prideful day we had that day, of being able to watch two of our teams play for a state championship, and we were happy for one and sad for the other. But 4A boys, again, McLean's not quite what they have been, and they made a nice showing the other night. But we have two legitimate contenders again. I mean, it could come down to Central and Webster boys both playing for a 4A state championship on the boys' side, and I wouldn't be surprised to see either one of those teams, if not both, in the finals. They're both that good. They both have depth. They're both well coached, and they play really, really hard. And like I said, right now, probably Webster has arguably one of the best players, probably top 5 juniors in the state, in Anthony Pritchard. So having that guy on your bench, there's going to be, like I was telling you earlier, there's going to be nights when you've got the best player in the gym. You just got to go out and prove it. So I think in 4A boys, we got a really good shot. We've gotten a good draw, and I tell you, I appreciate David Glover always picking our brain and kind of asking us what's the pulse on the east side in 4A boys and 4A girls, and I think we've developed that rapport. I think he got tired of hearing me complain some, but I think we've done a good job of kind of earning that respect. We had, he trusted us, and we didn't let him down. So they've done a great job of separating our schools where we don't have to all beat one another to try to get one spot in the state tournament.
Well, the ultimate goal is to have the best teams in the final 8, and it's unfortunate. We've had a couple years, 4 or 5 years ago, where probably 3 of the best teams were all in the same area because we didn't split them up, and they were all from Tulsa. And David has done a great job on that. The only downside I think about our 4A tournament is
I know where you're headed. I know where.
Oh my goodness! Central is going to be down at Muldrow and end up over at Washington, and not Washington Booker T. Washington, Oklahoma. That's 2.5 hours from here, and Webster gets to host the first round, and in the second round they're going to be in Fort Gibson. So
I think, Gil, that's part of, and it kind of goes back to our conversation. David said that he'd work with us, but I think that's some of the trade out of making sure that we've got teams that are going to have a viable chance to get to the state tournament. Is that we're going to have to do some traveling, and at the time, of course, I told him we didn't mind to do that, and we're still okay with that if it means that our kids are going to have a chance to play for a state championship. Takes to
have a chance.
That's right, and we just, that was my biggest thing. Let's not make all the Tulsa Public Schools kids beat each other to get in, especially when they're the best teams on this side. Let's spread them out and give them a chance to really get there. And like I said, David's been good to us, and he's done that. So the travel part of it isn't the most ideal, but I think it's the best thing for us as a district to get our kids the opportunities and the exposure that they need.
I agree. Well, we're going to be right back in a minute. We still have 5 and 6A to look at. So stay with us, and we'll be back with Mick Wilson, Deputy Director of Athletics.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field.
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with. Not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Glass bottle, string lights, ceramic mug. The correct answer is glass bottle. Glass bottles and jars are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But string lights and ceramic mugs should be donated or thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Well, welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and we're going to continue our discussion about 5 and 6A basketball. Let's go with 5A girls to start with. Mick, what do we think where we are there?
Well, I think, again, we're similar to our 4A girls basketball. Now, our 5A girls probably over the years have been a little better than where we've been at 4A-wise. But, again, with some of our programs, I think we're going to be in great shape. Rogers girls, obviously number one in the state right now. They're the team to beat. There's no question. Come off a good showing at the Tournament of Champions. And so I think those kids, the coaches are ready to go there. But I tell you what, with East Central, the girls and the Tradition and Coach Pitts and that bunch, I think they're obviously ready to make another run. And you can never count them out basically with the Tradition. Those girls show up and they know what's expected of them. And this time of year, they always seem to play hard. We don't always come out on top sometimes, but we've been right there in the hunt the last several years with them. And of course, Memorial with Coach Asbury kind of starting over and wiping the slate clean with a new program there. So it'll be interesting to see them and see what kind of postseason play they bring to the table.
And Edison's got a couple of
and Coach U with Edison, again. So I think our 5A girls all capable of getting past the first and maybe even the second round, and then after that it'll be kind of a toss-up. But I would say Rogers with a legitimate chance to win the state championship would probably be the one to beat. So that would probably be my favorite right now.
Felt really bad for them last year, the first game of the state tournament, because they didn't play particularly well. They didn't play as well as they'd played all year.
No, probably, Gil, as them being the most dominant team in the East last year. They did they get to the state tournament and lose that first round game by 2 points. Mm-hmm. And kind of looking back now, Carlin and we've had conversations about what he could have done differently, and maybe a timeout here or there. We've talked about maybe getting the girls settled in. I think they were a little out of their element. I don't think we'll see that this year because they've been on the stage at the Tournament of Champions. They've been there last year, so I think we're going to see them be a little more seasoned, a little more calm, and be able to handle some of that early adversity that comes with being in the state tournament.
Well, 5A boys.
Oh gosh, 5A boys. What do you say? I mean, we got our defending state champions and probably the team to beat, or one of the teams to beat, along with Carl Albert. With Dell City.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you say? Coach Allison has built that juggernaut. He kind of keeps feeding the monster, so to speak, at Memorial with their great tradition. They've got all the pieces. I think the key with them is being able to get back to being healthy. Brayshawn Finch has been hurt off and on this year, and he's always kind of been their lead dog. Well, Kayvon Key has now stepped into that role, and Finch is kind of taking a back seat. Either way, it's 1 and 1A. But those two guys, if they both have a big night, then the Memorial is going to be hard to handle and hard to beat. So if he can keep those two guys going, I think they've got a chance. And then you've got Edison boys, and Mason Richardson, and Lottie Combs. Got some good players there that can really contribute and play well. They've had some big wins this year, so I think Edison will be right there on the cusp of. I'll make a prediction. I think they'll make the state tournament. And I think as long as our schools avoid one another and don't have to play in an elimination game, I think we could legitimately get 2 or 3 in there. And of course, you can't count East Central out. And our other 5As are getting better.
Rogers.
Yeah, Rogers boys are right there on the cusp, and have a good guard with Markel Johnson. So you're going to see some good players. And like I said, if some of our folks can avoid each other, I think we could have multiple teams there in the 5A state tournament.
I agree. Well, 6A girls.
6A girls, Booker T, obviously with their great tradition coming off a year, 2 years removed from a state championship. Had some ups and downs last year, but I tell you what, there's been times this year, especially at the tournament champions, I thought they looked really good. I think the big thing with them is just being consistent. They've looked really good at times and then not looked so good at other times. But I think Coach Leyva does a great job with them, and I really think that those girls will step up to the tradition that they expect out of the Hornets and come on strong here at the end.
You know, I think their play has really helped them over the last 3 years in the Frontier Conference, because they play that tough girls, Owasso, Union, Jinx, Sapulpa this year beats them the other night. And, those are week to week when you're playing playoffs. I think you got to have that tough competition.
Well, I think that's the environment that they need to be in. It doesn't bode well for a 6A team to be in a conference with some 4A schools that probably aren't to the level that they are, and it doesn't really push them. No. And so we've seen that program improve just by your joining the Frontier Valley. I think that's been a great thing for them.
Well, then we got the 6A boys, the defending state champions.
I mean, not a lot to be said about the team that's as strong and as tough and as athletic and physical and all the things they bring to the table. And I attribute a lot of that to Conley. They play his personality, and Conley's a no-nonsense, push it, be physical, that kind of thing. But he's got a good group of boys that execute that game plan. And obviously having one of the best players in the country in Bryce Thompson, and then your son, who's one of the best players in the state, period, with Trey Phipps. Those guys bring a lot of leadership. Bryce has been a 4-year starter. He's played in 4 straight state tournaments. He's been in several state championship games. So there's nothing that's going to happen that's going to rattle Bryce Thompson. I can tell you that right now. And plus, he relies on the experience of not only his coach, but his dad. And that helps him a lot. And then Jalen Breath and some of the younger kids are starting to play well. So it's been really fun to see that new group come in and replace some of the seniors that we lost when we lost Seth Hurd and some of those kids that have moved on to the college level. But I really think that they're going to be a legitimate contender and have a great chance to repeat as 6A state champs.
It'll be exciting, I'm sure, if I can get through this golf. And we'll be right back after these messages.
I am a high school student athlete, which means I'm still learning some of life's most important lessons. I am learning how to persevere through difficult and challenging times.
And about determination and playing for my teammates.
I'm learning to respect my opponent.
Through participating in activities at my school.
Mom, Dad, Coach. With time, I won't remember the wins and losses.
But I will remember what I learned about how you acted towards my teammates,
opponents, officials, and other fans.
What lessons do you want me to learn?
Sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. Do the right thing.
This message was brought to you by the Oklahoma Secondary School Activities Association.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the show today. It was all about basketball. We had our really outstanding high school boys and girls basketball coaches in today, as well as Mick Wilson, who is our Deputy Director of Athletics, who supervises basketball. We had a lot of basketball in Tulsa. We'll be hosting at 5 different locations in the city, and we certainly hope that you get out and support our student athletes as we strive to get to the state tournament. See you in 2 weeks on Inside Tulsa Athletics.